Hi, welcome back to Guardian Angel Resin Creations. Today I'm going to create a trinket tray, and I'm going to put a photo in the trinket tray, and I'm going to put some sand in it as well. So I have already pre-sealed my photo. These were taken on a recent trip to Uluru, and the sand was collected as well. It's just Northern Territory sand. It's from just the side of the road, so it's nowhere near Uluru because it's a sacred site, so you don't collect anything from there. So I am at the moment mixing up my resin. I have a brand new Estoyo resin mixer stand, so it is sitting there mixing away. So these are some of the photos. So this is sunset, and this I got to take a helicopter flight, so I got to take photos of the top of it. And then there's another sunset with the pink and the purple in the background, and then I have cloud and water running down the rock, which is a very rare sight in the middle of Australia. It very rarely rains, so I got the opportunity with my husband to see it raining on the rock, so it was spectacular. So I wanted to put this photo into my collage as well. So I'm going to use this one today, and I have already made up one yesterday. So that's me standing there with the cloud in the background. So this is what I want to recreate, and I'm trying to do a set of 5 to hang on my wall, and then we're going to get a large photo done of Uluru, and I'm going to have them around it. So, but I do need to find a photo of my husband to put in my little collage. So right, I'm just going to let my mixer finish mixing. The Estoyo mixer on the stand, I will try and get you over here. Excuse my mess behind it. So that's just beeped, so it is just done for me. Sorry about the creaking. That is my little stand. So I am just going to I'll take that off, and then I'll come back in a second. I just wanted to quickly show you, this is mixing it with the mixer. So all I use to just scrape down the little mixer is just one of these. So you just scrape down the edges of the mixer, and then it sits on the little silicone mat and drips, and then there's a couple that come with it, so you can just change them over, and then it dries, and it easily comes off that little paddle there. So there's not that many bubbles in it, so I'm going to just quickly put it in my little degasser and just try and get those little extra bubbles out. Okie, just make sure you're centered properly. Right, I've got my heater mat on at the moment, and I am going to just pour a little bit of resin into my little bit of sand here. I just want to get it wet. So I've got a bit of a stick here. So we'll just mix this resin into it. Now I used a couple of little cups full yesterday, so I'm just going to just mix that in until it's wet. There's nothing I can do about bubbles in it. So I'm going to just try and just put this into the edges. Just get it all moist and try and get that in there. Hopefully it's just going to drop in there, because otherwise I will do the sand around the edges trick. So I'll just get a stick and just open that up and just pour that in there. May not work as well as I was hoping. Pour that in there, push it all in. Get rid of the air bubbles as I'm doing it. Scrape that in there. May not work as well as I'd hoped, because I don't want to put too much resin in there and waste too much resin. That looks like, was my head in the way then? Push that in there. Okay, a bit more. That's a bit dry, so a bit more in there. So I don't want to waste too much sand in it. That's better, that's flowing a little bit better. Oh, that's easier to get in there. Definitely, I can push that in there like that. Beautiful. And then once I pour resin in there, it will all just flow in there. Alright, I'm going to keep playing with this. I'm not going to subject you to watching me put dirt in a hole, so I'll be back. I forgot to turn you back on. So I'm just got some resin and I've just put it on my photo, and I'm just moving it around my photo just to coat the photo in resin before I put it into my mold. Just get it all coated there so that I don't get any air bubbles. Might just put a tiny bit more, and I'm gonna have to do this khaki handed here. Just a tiny bit more in my mold. Try to make sure I don't get any air bubbles in there. Just a little bit more on my photo. Just wet it really well. Okay, just move it around. I was trying not to get it all over my hands, but it is what it is. Right, I've got a really good coat on there. I'm going to just gently put this in without hopefully getting bubbles in it. Gently drop it in. That part, gently drop this part in. Just give it a push. Try and get some of these bubbles out that I'll just probably put in there. There we go, gentle. Just push it down, move it around a little bit. The sand is pretty well set in where it is. Doesn't tend to move very much because it's quite heavy. There we go, just pour that in there. Pour that in there, like try and get the bubbles out. I can't see any bubbles coming out of it. I'm going to pour a little bit more on, and then I will sprinkle some sand over the top as well. I don't want to fill my mold up too much. May have a little bit more sand than I did yesterday in there, so I'm just going to coat the back of this. I made up 100 of A and 90 of B. Sorry, 95 of B. Okay, that's coated. Get that on there. Why is that not going over there? There we go. So get that in exactly where I want it, which is about there. Just scrape that off, and I'm just going to just quickly wipe my hands off and get a bit more of this dirt. So all I did yesterday was just sprinkle it over, and then it just soaks itself in. Sprinkle it over the back of it. Try and cover the back. Not that you will see the back, because I do put the coating over it, like the top coat. But if it turns out really well, then I may not put that top over the back of it. Okay, get that in a bit more around this side. Sprinkle it over. There we go. Now I'll let that settle. Make sure it's all covered. Hopefully my head is not in the way. And the wind has picked up again. So I'm just going to just pour that over the top. Wet all that sand. Here we go. It will go in by itself. Hopefully it hasn't ruined my dirt and my photo. You can see it moving the sand around. I think yesterday when I did it a little bit slower and put it in bit by bit, but I'm just going to just go like this, because then I can maneuver that sand where I want it. Just give it a mix, get that in down there. There we go. Try not to get too many bubbles in there. Just move that over there. There we go. Just mix that round so that it actually covers the whole of the mold over this side, and then it'll keep that photo in place. Move it up there a tiny bit. There we go. Only done. Probably should have mixed this part in as well, but I wasn't sure as to how much sand I would be using. Push that around there, drop that down the edges. And there we go. Some bubbles coming up out of the sand, so I'll just move them around while I'm playing with it. Get some of them out. I don't mind if there's a few bubbles, I just don't want great big bubbles, because they are hard to get out of the photos. Just keep mixing that around. Just drop that the back of the photo there. There we go, drop that down. And if it seeps under the photo, we are all good. Right, there we go. Lots and lots of bubbles coming up now out of that sand. There we are. I do love the colour of this sand. It is spectacular. It is just amazing to see just the rolling sand hills. It's just undescribable how beautiful it is. So if any of you ever get the opportunity, go see it. It's just amazing. I know people think it's just a rock, but it's spectacular. So, all right then, I'm going to get rid of some of these bubbles. I'm going to get rid of these gloves. Maybe before I touch my camera, I'll get rid of my gloves, do a torch, and I will come back when I go to put the bronzy colour on. Right, I am back and I am ready to mix up my top coat. So I'm just going to put a little bit of this sparkle in there. So this is Flash Brown Red, number 58. And then I have got some metallic pigment powder from Harry and William. So about that much. There we go. There we go. Let's give that a mix. And mix it around, scrape it all down. I will leave this sit for a few minutes when I finish mixing it to get the bubbles out. Here we go. I might actually put it in my machine, get some bubbles out, and then I will come back when it is time to pour it on the top. I've had that sitting for a few minutes now. Now, if you can see in the video, it's had some few bubbles around the edges. Now because this is like, I can still mark this, it's still soft. I can put my fingernails into it and I've just made marks on it. So I will just give that a little bit of a wipe because I don't really want the marks all over it. And that's just an alcohol wipe. Just wipe that off so that it doesn't get marks on it. So I've just cut the little bubbles off around the edges, and now I'm hoping that I haven't done too much damage to the side. I'm just pressing in my mold again just to make sure it's got contact with the edges there before I put this in. Now I can see that there is a lot of bubbles, but it's got the sand in it, so you can't see it anyway, and it just adds to the texture. So I'm just pushing that all back in. And there we go. Like, I still do have my heat mat on, so just give that a little bit more of a torch. Hopefully you are seeing what I'm doing. I have a habit of not putting my camera up properly. Okay, so there we go, that's all mixed. And then I'm just going to just gently pour that in, get this over the bubbles. Push that in over those bubbles. Bring it around here. Now I made up 50 of A, 45 of B. I'm not sure whether I mentioned it in the beginning. I am using the Ice Toyo, or is Toyo resin, 1:1. Just push that around, get that all around those edges. There we go, push it all in. And there we are. Just give that a bit of a push. That in around on the edges there. Bring it over here. Get that in there where where I've moved those bubbles. Sit it in there. There we go, beautiful. Bring it round a bit. I may have leftovers which I'll be able to do something else with. That all around the edges. And there we go. I will try and dome this just to make sure that it is all good. Now it doesn't seem to be seeping down the edges. I think it might just be a little bit on just there. I think it's seeping, but it is the back, so you're not going to see it, and I can always give it a little bit of a sand if I'm worried about it. Just bring that to the edge. Get that over there. Just pour that in a little bit more just to make sure that it's doming. Beautiful. I love how the metallic pigment powders go. They're just amazing. Just get that round that edge there. Just pop those little bubbles. Otherwise it'll make it sharp. There we are. Right to the edge there. Bring them around there. And I'm pretty sure that I can just put the rest of that in there if I don't touch it. Just get that to dome. There we go. Alrighty. I'll finish scraping this in, and then I will come back hopefully in a couple of hours and demold this. I will certainly cover it because it is windy and I don't want anything in the back of it. Right, drop that little bit in. There we go. We will be back shortly. Rightio, it's all cured up. I've had it sitting on my heater mat because it got quite cold outside. So I'm just going to turn that off. So it's all ready to go. So let's see how we go. We can get it off there. Just pull it back. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing properly. Just pull that round. There we go. Lots and lots of air bubbles in this one. I don't think I got as many in the one yesterday. There we go. Might have to give this a bit of a top coat, I think. Spin it around. Wow, there's a lot of air bubbles in it. Maybe I'm better off doing it the way I did it yesterday. Okay, turn him over. Hopefully this has turned out nice. It is still extremely hot. Turn that in the right way. Bit of overflow on my mold there. Get that off. There we go. And ooh, I like it. I like it, I like it, I like it. Got a couple of little air bubbles, but it has made my photo discolor. That's annoying. That's super annoying. Maybe it's because of the heat of it. I've discolored it. Like it's gone really washed out. Wow, that's disappointing. Because I really, really like it. Maybe once the heat comes out of this, it might be a little bit better, but look at all the bubbles. Wow. I'm just going to grab my other one to compare it, and we'll see how it is. Just going to walk away for a second. So this is yesterday's. So I didn't get quite as many bubbles. It's got bubbles in it, but just not anywhere near the amount. I think it's darker because it's warm, I think. Maybe when it cools down, might be right, because I've still got the colours in the background. Got that little bit of sand that's come over the top of it. But I'm annoyed with how that's gone like that. A little bit of the sparkle has come through behind because the photo moved. Bring you up so you can see it a little bit better. Disappointed in how that photo has gone, but I still really do like it. Alrighty, so thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hit the like button. Let me know in the comments what you think, what I could have done better with these photos. Maybe if it's just the heat or not. I will take a photo maybe if the sun comes out this week. And thank you to all of my lovely subscribers. I really do appreciate you subscribing and watching. And I will catch you next time, and be safe.